here are some points that you can use to establish value with your customers and also what makes our CO2 incubators better than our competitors. So first, we have a wide range of sizes. Like I've mentioned previously, a lot of times customers go for the 160 liter because that's what's available on the market and that's what most of our competitors have. So it became the industry norm. However, if they don't need 160 liters, sometimes it's only a few plates or only a few T175 or T25 flasks that they stick in the CO2 incubator. They can go for 40 liter. We have a range of sizes. And also, if they have a lot of samples, then we can go for the really large, tall 1,200 liter incubators. The divided door, like I discussed during the accessories video, as far as I know, there are not many other suppliers with this option. Especially if it's a shared CO2 incubator, there's a lot of different experiments going around, a lot of different scientists using it. Something that's also unique to us, we have models and you can choose to have it with or without the decontamination. And I think it's almost about 15 to 20,000 cheaper without the high heat decontamination. A lot of customers still manually decontaminate their CO2 incubators. Some customers, this is required for their protocols. So even though having high heat decontamination is better technology, it doesn't matter for them. If this is the case, then rather offer something without high decontamination. Most of our competitors, when they do have high decontamination, they cannot offer the incubator without it. So this is the plus for us. Shakers and rollers, we have a wide range of shakers and rollers that is available, specifically designed for CO2 incubators. We also have, over and above this, we also have a pot that we can install, electrical pot that we can install inside a CO2 incubator that can allow customers to use their own shakers into a CO2 incubator. So we have a Vizsla infrared sensor to measure CO2 inside the CO2 incubator, which is probably the best CO2 sensor in the world. So you can imagine that you're going to get very accurate CO2 readings, but also you don't need to remove it during the decontamination process. A lot of our competitors, in fact, most of our competitors, you have to remove the sensor during the decontamination process. So imagine how cumbersome this is to remove a sensor and reinstall a sensor during decontamination. We don't have any other pump inside our CO2 incubator. Just to discuss this a little, to give you a clear picture, a few years ago, we came across some of our competitors and we came across some customers that complained about replacing this pump and they asked us for a sort of a maintenance plan for our CO2 incubator because they assumed we had a pump inside the CO2 incubator. And we don't have this pump. And doing some digging, I realized that there are some brands that use like a aqua fish pump that you would use in your fish tank inside the CO2 incubator. And I'm not sure if it's to regulate the CO2 or to inject air through a filter. I'm not sure the usage of this pump. But the problem with this pump is that they have plastic tubing and this plastic tubing melts over time inside the pump and the pump itself, it doesn't last very long, especially during decontamination cycles. The pump gets damaged, and when the pump gets damaged they have to replace the pump. Now it's a standard fish tank pump that you could possibly get locally, but the competitor that supplied this were buying it through the supplier, so they were charging them like 7 to 8,000 rand just to replace this pump, and they were replacing this pump on an annual basis. We don't have any pump inside. So if you ever get a customer ask you about maintenance and replacing the pump, we don't have a pump. We just have a solenoid valve and CO2 connected through that. We have a tri-gas and a copper chamber option as discussed in accessories. So just in case your customer needs this. We also have the option to improve our display to an advanced digital display just for trending purposes and tracking purposes and data export purposes. If a customer needs this, please, you can talk to me. We also have the optional humidity display if required. This has to be factory installed, so please discuss with me if you need this. In most cases, customers do not need a fancy digital display or a humidity display, but we can offer this if needed.